Alright guys, here's a video on how to do your lower ball joints on a Volkswagen Vanagon. This is a 1991, so this is probably most applicable for late year VWs. First, pull off wheel, then caliper, and then I like to pull off the wheel bearing assembly, like the whole hub rotor, which you'll pull off the grease cap, undo the little peening holder nut. You'll probably want to get a new one of those because you can't really reuse those. So then pull that whole thing off. I just set it aside, and then you'll take off the caliper shield. You can see it sitting over there. My little bolts stripped, so I'll have to re-drill those and tap them out with some new bolts. And then to get the knuckle off, undo the tie rod, 19 mil bolt, undo these two bolts for the upper ball joint, and then lean the whole steering knuckle forward. You'll pull, this is a 27 mil, pull him off, and then just give the stud a good hard tap with a sledgehammer and be ready to catch this as it comes off. Once you've got the knuckle out, first thing you're going to want to do is bring it over here, throw it in a vise, and then there's an old snap ring around here. This thing's a little welded, so you got to get him off before you can pop the ball joint out. Next, after you get the snap ring off, I just spray the shit out of it with PB Blaster, sort of let that sit, give us some taps to sort of wiggle that in there. And then I'm gonna hit it with a blowtorch, only on top, and then maybe just around here. And then what we'll do is just give it a good hard hit with a sledgehammer right here. It helps to sort of stand back and get a good swing and just hit it really hard. So once you get the joint out, clean it up real good with a brush, and then the tool I ended up having to make this work, to get the ball joint back in there, is this guy. It's a 4-inch long by 2-inch diameter nipple with a cap, and then I just cut it with a Sawzall. Make sure that the nipple is all the way at the base of the cap, otherwise this will slip down. That's what happened, that's why it's a little off. So that when you press it, the nipple will not slip farther into the cap. And this will sit, basically this is the old ball joint, but it'll sit just like that on the ball joint, and allow access. I'm using a manual press. This would probably be a lot easier with a hydraulic press, but this can be rented from AutoZone, as well as these ball joint adapters that really come in handy. Alright, so I left this new ball joint in the freezer for quite a while, to try to shrink the metal a little bit, so it's nice and cold. And then this tapered edge, this sort of flat edge in the ball joint, is going to go on this back side, so you'll have to align that nicely. Alright, so I've got the knuckle in the press here. What I've got going on is my tool, and then this is just like a 1/4-inch steel plate, something pretty thick, up against that, and then that bridges the gap, bridges the hole. We'll start pressing it, and then so you want to add, this is just a little spacer from the ball joint adapter kit. Add it to the plate to space you out and allow the bottom of the ball joint just come into there. Have to finagle the alignment for quite a while to get it so that it's straight, but we just got it pressed in and it's flush, so pull the press off and put on the snap ring. So depending on what joints you get, they come with this snap ring, with like the two little hole style, and these have this weird little flare on the back, and that needs to be ground away for it to sit in the groove. So put it in the vise and take your angle grinder or something and completely grind away this back edge, to get it to sit down in there. Alright, so just put the steering knuckle back in. One thing of note is on the driver's side, you will have to pull out the speedometer cable, which is just a little clip on the grease cap, and then just give it a good hard tug. Start with the lower ball joint, slide it up through the trailing arm. An impact is pretty helpful for getting that nut tight. If not, you can hold the top of the nut with an open end, and then get on the nut itself with an open end and tighten it down until it's snug, and then torque it down to 80 foot-pounds. Top is going to be 43 foot-pounds for these two, for the upper control arm, and then for the tie rod is 22 foot-pounds straight out of the Bentley. And then slide on the wheel bearings and tighten those down, and then you're good to go. I'm not covering how to do the wheel bearings in this video. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of videos out there on that sort of thing too.